Sri S.R. Vijayakumar.
Thank you, sir. I wish to express my gratitude of our immortal leader, Prachitalavi Amma, and thank you for allowing me to speak on the very important Companies Amendment Bill 2016. Sir, as on 31st December 2016, a total of 16,13,371 companies were registered in the country. Of them, 11,43,121 companies were active and the rest inactive. Of the active companies, there are 10,77,398 private companies and 65,733 public companies engaged in 4 broad aids, namely business service, manufacturing, trading and construction. Business service include hardware and software, data processing, research and development, legal, accounting and audit services, business and management consultancy, entertainment and advertising, etc. Manufacturing companies include food products, textiles, paper, metallic, non-metallic, mineral products, chemicals and petrochemicals, radio, television, mobile phones and communication products, transport, equipments, etc. The total authorized capital of this company is around Rs 53 lakh crores. The Companies Act was enacted and enforced on 12 September 2013, which replaced the old Companies Act of 1956. The Act was brought into address the loopholes and discrepancies that were present in the old Act. Since then, the Act has been amended by the Companies Amendment Act 2014 and the Companies Amendment Act 2015. The Companies Amendment Bill 2016 introduced in the Lok Sabha on March 16, 2016 to further amend the Act. It was referred to the Standing Committee of Finance on April 12, 2016 and the committee submitted its 37th report on December 6, 2016 in April 2017. The government circulated certain amendments to the bill. The bill amends the Companies Act 2013 in relation to structuring, disclosure and compliance requirements for companies. The 2013 Act permits the central government to impose a cap and layers of subsidiaries a company can have, but the Companies Amendment Bill 2016 removed the restrictions and number of layers of subsidiaries of a company. The amendments to the Bill 2016 restores the provision in the 2013 Act and permits the central government to impose a cap and layers of subsidiaries of a company. With regards to the cap and investments through layers of companies, Section 186 under the 2013 Act, investments in a company cannot be made through more than 2 layers of investment companies. The amendments in Bill 2016 removes the restrictions and number of layers of investment companies. Now the government restores the provision in the 2013 Act and prohibits investments in a company through more than 2 layers of investment companies. As far as the objects of the company, it was recommended by the Finance Committee the amendment in 2016 may lead to the creation of bogus entities and status quo should be restored. The recommendations are accepted. It is required that the memorandum to define the specific objects for which the company is being incorporated. A simple form of annual return may be prescribed for small companies, one-person companies and private companies less than an annual sales turnover of say Rs 100 crore. This may apply to other forms of companies as well to avoid repetitive information. The government has accepted the recommendations of the Standing Committee. The amendment extends the power of the central government to prescribe abridged form of annual returns for other types of companies in addition to one-person company or a small company. As far as the annual financial statement, Section 129, the amendment prescribes for a company to attach a separate financial statements of its associate companies in addition to that of its subsidiaries. Financial statements of foreign subsidiary, Section 137, every company is required to file a copy of its financial statement with the register along with the accounts of subsidiaries incorporated in foreign countries. If the accounts of foreign subsidiaries are not required to be audited under the local law, companies need to make a special declaration stating the same. This applies only for public listed companies. It was recommended that such a provision should be applicable to all companies and not just listed public companies. With regards to the late filing, the 2013 Act gave the companies 270 days of upper time limit The amendments removes the time limits for filing of documents under the Act. For the non-filing of documents under Section 92, filing of annual return and Section 137, filing of financial statements, a minimum fine amount ₹100 per day has been specified. Further, the company shall be liable for penal action. If a company defaults on submitting the documents for 2 or more times, the fees levied on the company may be doubled. The imposition of fines on late filing may not results in many small companies and perhaps detrimental to the survival and growth of smaller companies. It is therefore decided that the provisions of the 2013 Act should be restored. In calculation of profits to provide dividends, Section 123, the company should declare or pay dividends only out of the profits of the company. The amendments add a provision which in computing profits excludes first any unrealized or national gains or revaluation of assets at any change in carrying amount of an asset or liability. With regards to the loans to directors of companies, Section 185, a company is not allowed to advance any loan to its directors or to any person in whom the director is interested. The Bill 2016 allows companies to advance a loan to any person a director is interested in if the company passes a special resolution to this effect. The amendments proposed by the government provides that if loans extends are used against certain conditions, in addition to the company and its directors, every defaulting officer, if the company, may also be imprisoned or fined. The amendment proposed deletes the provision that provides power to SEBI to enforce the insider trading and forward dealing provisions of the Act. The bill permits an independent director to have a pecuniary relationship up to 10% of his total income with the company. Currently, there are restrictions on loans that can be provided to a company by its director or the relatives. The restrictions are based on factors such as net worth of the companies. The loans from directors are major source of funding for micro, small and medium enterprises. Restrictions on these loans and restraining the finance and growth MSMEs. The restrictions on loans from directors should be reduced to promote growth, micro, small and medium enterprises. Currently, every company is required to file a copy of the financial statement with the register, consisting of details regarding balance sheet, cash flow and profit and loss statements, etc. Further, companies are required to attach accounts of subsidiaries which are incorporated in foreign countries. The bill requires that if the accounts of such subsidiaries are not required to be audited under the local law, companies need to make a special declaration stating that. However, the requirements applies only for public listed companies. The committee recommended that such requirement should hold to all public companies. The bill also seeks to set a limit on the reopening of accounts of a company. The bill suggests that the accounts of a company must not be reopened prior to 8 years from the date of examination. This will be a great relief to the companies as they will not have to carry on the cumbersome task of maintaining books of accounts for several years as they currently are required to. Before I conclude, I would like the Union government to provide more provisions and powers for the centre and state governments as well as the elected representatives to involve, suggest, recommend and monitor the annual allocation and spending of the public and private sector companies under the corporate social responsibility. Thank you, sir.